Happy New Year, everyone. Here we are in a brand new year. 1 year down and a whole new year to go. This week, this year, I have a lot to do this year, a lot I want to do this year. I hope everyone had a safe New Year. I did. I had a few bullets hit the house, though. I'm pretty sure it sounded like it was raining on my roof. Sorry about coming on so late, but I had a few little things I had to take care of today, and one of them was a doctor appointment, and just got in and hooked everything up as fast as I could and got myself in here. But one of the things that hi Connie, how are you? What I wanted to talk about the new year, and I kind of wanted to keep it tonight, Bigfooting, Squatching. I had that new report. I haven't had a chance to go out and check it out yet. Hi, Odie. And it's out like where you wouldn't think there's Bigfoot, like way away from the mountains. Pretty far out there. But I started thinking about Bigfoot and aliens and all these things. Happy New Year, Arlo, and I'm doing really well, man. I went to my doctor's appointment today, and I'm doing really, really well, really well. That's something, I get a few emails. I actually get a few emails and stuff about talking about my health. The people calling me a whiner or whatever. So I'm disabled, so I died, and then here I am, still alive. I don't mean to run people off when I talk about my health, but I know there's a lot of people out there that have health problems, and I relate to that, and I think they relate to that, especially when you're trying to do something different with your life. You want to, when you're disabled, you don't have the capabilities that a normal person has. There's all these things that stop you from doing what you're doing. This year, hi Winter, hi Jan. This year, as all years for me, I'm pushing the envelope every single day. I feel proud that I'm not in a wheelchair. I feel proud that I get out and I do the things that I do. It makes me feel good inside. There's still some sad parts, that I can't hike to the top of the hill and stuff like that. I can't go places I normally would go if I was healthy. Only I am getting out there, and I am doing what I love to do. And here I am sitting here doing what I love to do again, and thanks to all my friends. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be sitting here. That my friends got me here and made everything possible. And I'm going to continue to keep on keeping on. And that's just how it's going to be. So all the haters and people that want to hate on me for doing something that I thought I would never ever do again. And you could call me a whiner, you could call me whatever. I don't hold it against you. You don't know what it's like maybe to have everything taken from you and have to learn how to walk again, and you don't feel the exhilarating feeling of being able to just do little every things that you guys, most people take for granted, and then so it's like a big deal, you know, just the stupid little things like getting out of bed. That's a big deal, you know, to me. But I want to let everybody know, Happy New Year. This is going to be a good year. A lot of things I got planned. Especially like about what I wanted to talk about tonight. Yeah, sciatica. If you're gonna put like the pain the closest to what I have, it would be sciatica. But if anyone wants to know what it is that I suffer with, Google RSD type 2. Highest pain known to mankind, called the suicide disease. I've had 5 acquaintances that I met looking for information on RSD, and I got to know people in some forums and stuff like that, and I've had 5 people commit suicide that I knew that had RSD. I'm not one to commit suicide. I'm more one to fight the pain, fight to have some normalcy, fight to do the things I love, fight to be with my family, fight to hang out with my friends. You know, I'm that guy, not really the whiner at all, actually. But only they can say whatever they want. Yeah, Happy New Year. Yeah, that's one of the things about having a chronic pain is when you go to the doctor, they like to label people that have chronic pain. They label them as pain pill seekers or whatever, you know. Man, been there, done that thing a whole bunch of times. And especially at the hospitals, you know, that you go in there, like, I don't even need their pain pills. I'm going in there because I need to be in there and get treated, and they're treating me bad because of they look at my med list and they assume, you know, that I'm in there for more, and I'm not. I don't need it. I need treatment, you know. But that's part of like what I want to talk about tonight, about how we get brainwashed, right? How we're brainwashed to, or how it's like everyone, like, we learn things and told things, and we're almost like sheep, kind of like, you know, like. And if the government says something, or you know, politically correct or whatever it is, you know, that pushes everybody's buttons and makes everybody say and do the same thing. I don't know. I'm not that guy either. I'm the guy that's going, you know, breaking down trying to figure out what's going on, breaking down the barriers, try to do all this stuff, you know. Yeah. And you know, a lot of people, a lot of doctors and stuff don't know what RSD is. That's kind of sad. They need to learn about it, though. It's actually been known about since the First World War, from way back, the Civil War even, because people would take damage, and back then they called it sciatica. There's another one. It had a bunch of different names. Causalgia is another one that they call it. But it's a nasty little thing. Now they changed the name even again, and they called it complex regional pain syndrome, because they really don't understand what it is. You know, they don't understand. But yeah, so, you know, like, what I wanted to talk about tonight was, you know, to start the new year, is Bigfoot. And, you know, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but there's like more sightings of Bigfoot and experiencers of Bigfoot than ever before in the history of me, at least me, keeping track of Bigfoot. Even when the show Finding Bigfoot was going, there wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of sightings and stuff like that, but it seems like to me, like over the last few years, there has been an uptick in Bigfoot. In fact, so much so that behind me, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm going to move to a different room as soon as this room's done. I'll be working on this room in a couple of weeks, over the next few weeks. Then all this is going to move to another room. But behind me, I'm going to put a map and with push pins, and I'm going to start keeping track not of old Bigfoot sightings. I'm going to start keeping track of what I read of current, like mostly pretty current sightings, you know, like from at least the last 2 or 3 years until today and on and beyond, you know. And because I feel like maybe something happened, you know, like I've been doing a lot of research into this DNA thing, you know, everybody knows I do research into aliens, abduction cases, a lot of stuff, and I've been starting to tie, you know, like I'm starting to tie a few things together that I think go together, right? Like the aliens, let's go out down that little rabbit trail for a minute, you know. Let's go down the alien rabbit trail. Okay, like what do we know about them? One, the first thing that we know is they lie. Even the government admits that they lie, right? The government admits that they don't tell the truth, okay? So now if they were benevolent beings like how they say they are, or if there are creator beings or whatever, or there are savior beings, why do they have to lie about it? I mean, and what they lie about usually is dumb stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, now the other thing that about aliens that we know is they've been doing animal mutilations. They've been abducting people and doing, you know, horrendous experiments on them, right? And what are they doing though? Like when what are they doing when they do this? You know, like for me, they're collecting stem cells and they're collecting DNA. And hey, Isaiah, what's up, brother? And L Shepherd and Sam Squatch, man, everybody's. I thought I was coming on kind of late, man. I really, I didn't mean to come on so late. I just got so busy, and I'm supposed to be calling Kaiser. Hey, bro, if you're tuning in and you're watching, I'll send you a message right after this. I'm going to work with this guy on a show. He's a really good friend. But if you're listening, I'll be texting you right after this, man. Yeah, I heard the X-Files was on. I'll catch it later, but I mean that's one of my favorite shows too. But only I was gonna miss most of it anyways. Hey, fast one. Okay, now the aliens, they've been since like at least the 70s, maybe even beyond the 70s. But only, you know, like for most of my research and stuff like that, the 70s were like when this information really started to hit the public, and we could thank Linda Moulton Howe for that. I mean, she really researched this cattle mutilation thing, and she's drawn some pretty good conclusions. There is some shows, you know, or some videos that you can watch that could bring you up to speed a little bit on what I'm talking about I don't know if they're still there on YouTube, but I know like a few years ago you could watch quite a bit of Linda Moulton Howe and come to learn what she learned about aliens, like and what she found. They're looking for DNA. And what they use the DNA for is to clone container bodies that they, or to make, so that they could, I don't know, I don't even know what you call them, a drone or, like a robot, a chipped thing, you know what I mean? Something that does their bidding, and they create them, and one of the things that I found that the aliens do is, like, say there's and I know there is, like, several different types of aliens, and we all know that every single one of them lie, okay? And like the Greys, they create, they take DNA and stuff like that, and they make more Greys. And that's how they make them. They can't procreate. So how they're procreating and making more is by DNA manipulation, stem cells, stuff like that. They're growing or making these things, okay? And then supposedly there's like good aliens and bad aliens. The Greys are supposed to be the bad, and then there's these extra, what do they call them, biological entities, Ebens, I think that's what they call them, something like that. Eben, extraterrestrial biological entity, something. But only those guys are supposed to be the good guys, right? The Ebens. Now, but only they weren't supposed to be. They weren't supposed to be abducting people. But then it came out, around the 80s or something like that, somewhere in there. Come to find out that they were abducting people, and they were taking DNA and stem cells and reproductive things, eggs and stuff like that, to make things. Okay, now what they do, like, and one of the things why you can't believe what's going on, and no matter what they tell you, is, say the Ebens, the extraterrestrial biological entity, whatever, the EBEs, say they create these containers, right? And they also create gray containers, Greys, that'll do their bidding, like little robot things, right? Well, the Greys also are taking, the same stuff and making container things, and they make EBEs that will do their bidding and do whatever, right? So you don't even know who the good guy or the bad guy is, because they're both creating each other in these container things, okay? Now, let's think about Bigfoot for a minute, like, they're so good at playing with the DNA and the, stem cells and reproductive material, we'll call it. What if they in the, it goes way back, but they created a few Bigfoots, but they made them like kind of like humans, where they could breed, and maybe it was a long time ago, and maybe they were keeping track of the population and everything, and there wasn't any agenda or need for a lot of them, so they were actually, like, who knows, but they weren't letting the population get going or get a big foothold. But what if in the last 20 years or so, they're helping it along now? What if they're creating these things and like seeding the world with them, seeding the United States, seeding Australia, Asia. I mean, there's so many sightings now and all over the map. I mean, that's why I want to put a map. I mean, it's getting ridiculous on, I mean, like Utah, Rio, for instance, you know, the guy doesn't believe in Bigfoot, and then he goes out and he researches what other researchers' stuff, okay, and a lot of them never even saw a Bigfoot yet. I mean, they found evidence of like footprints and stuff like that. Like Bindernagel, for instance, you know, like the guy never saw one, and he's been out there his whole life. And I know hundreds of people that go to the mountains and they spend a lot of time in the mountains and they never saw a track. They never heard a Bigfoot that they know of. They never saw a Bigfoot. They never saw a tree structure. They never, I mean, like, it used to be more and more, you know, a lot of people were like that back in the day, but only nowadays that is becoming less and less. Now it's more people are seeing them close to their town, in their town. I mean, you don't even have to be in the woods now. You know, you don't have to go driving 100 zillion miles out in the middle of nowhere. They're all around. Their population is exploding, I think, you know, like getting more and more. Is it because they're having more and more babies? Is it because they're like mice, you know, or gophers, you know, like you can kill all the gophers in your yard, but there's gophers in another yard, and as they fill up the area, pretty soon they're back in your yard. You know what I mean? The population grows, and it keeps growing until it has to keep expanding. You know what I mean? Like getting more and more and more area. Is that what's going on with Bigfoot? Like something's going on. And if like, even if you watch television, the shows are telling us something's going on. That just the type of shows that we have right now are really weird compared. I mean, like, we used to have the Twilight Zone when I was a kid. I think there's a Twilight Zone now too, but I mean, like, there was the shows were more like Three's Company, and, you know, like all kinds of sitcoms and variety shows and stuff like that. That was the norm, okay? And then there was your out of the world, maybe mostly in movies type thing. Only now it's almost like flip-flopped. Like, now the norm is your out of this world TV shows and movies, and, you know, your sitcoms and variety shows are like less and less. You know what I mean? Now it's like more paranormal, supernatural. You know, you got the Star Wars and the cloning. I mean, you ever thought about Star Wars and cloning? I mean, they go into it really deep, and what's really a trip about the Star Wars and the cloning is they use like the same tubes and the same material and descriptions that is what leaks from the government. You know, like maybe the guy that made the, you know, Star Wars was in the know a little bit, because what he created in his movies is almost like what is being leaked from the government about how the aliens clone and what they do in, you know, in the tubes and all the stuff like that, you know. yeah, reality TV, but only the only problem with reality TV is really it's not reality. It's not reality. Like, I've been on a few reality TV shows, and I've worked for some cable companies, production companies, and they were doing reality TV, but it's not reality. You know what I mean? Like say on the ghost shows, ghosts don't show up on cue. Bigfoots don't show up on cue. UFOs don't show up on cue. Things don't just happen right when you turn your camera on. And I understand, you know, like, you just can't go into a haunted house and turn the camera on and then say roll them, and then everything starts happening. You know what I mean? So a lot of the reality TV shows have to create what happens in these places, but only they have to create it in order to show it on TV. Otherwise, they'd have to sit there for months with their cameras rolling 24/7 to catch some of, you know, this stuff. Like, if they wanted to catch Bigfoot stuff, they'd have to be out in the field, like almost like the guys that shot the Blue Planet. You know, they were out there for like 5 years out in the field with their really cool HD cameras, you know, and they came back and they edited it took like 5 years to put together something where it's easy. You know, you go out there and there's a herd of caribou, and I mean, like, it isn't like you have to like make stuff up, you know what I mean? Only the reality shows today, they have to make stuff up, and then they kind of over dramatize everything so that it's interesting to everyone, you know? Only, like, where I'm going with this is that the Bigfoot thing is starting to, like, surprise me, or maybe confuse me a little bit. It's getting like mainstream, and it's almost like mainstream. Anyone could go out. Like, now, I mean, it's almost like you could go out with your camera and you know, get some Bigfoot footage or something, you know what I mean? Like, it's getting where, and you don't even have to go far, you know. You could just go right out of town, go find a river, a creek bottom, or something like that, and you could start having encounters like almost instantly as soon as you go out. And back in the day when I first started doing this, like in the 90s, there was years that I went where there was no tracks, there was no knocks, there was no anything, you know what I mean? And I didn't know where they were. I knew that they were there once, and now they're not, you know, and I might go like to the same place like 3 or 4 years and nothing, even though I was going in an area that I knew was, you know, had them in the area. Only now, we could go in the same area and you're almost guaranteed to get responses and have them, you know, be there. And then even in places where you don't think they're there, and you go over there, you hear somebody report there's one over here. So then you go over there and then you find out, wow, there really is, you know. And then somebody says over here, and you go over there, and then, wow, you know, there is, you know, like, it's getting like trippy to me that like this year, I feel like this year is going to be a really good year for gathering evidence, you know, maybe even really good video and stuff like that, if that even means anything, you know what I mean? Like, will that even help? I mean, it'll help me and prove something to me, but it's not really going to prove anything to the whole world, you know. It's just interesting. You know, I've been giving it a lot of thought. I had the flu there over the holidays, and you know, so I watched a lot of videos, and I was going over a lot of old work, you know, that things that I've watched a long time ago or read articles and history and stuff like that that I'd gone over, and I was trying to like piece like this puzzle together. Like I have a feeling all this stuff is fits together, you know what I mean, like it goes together like a puzzle, and that goes for Bigfoots and the supernatural, the paranormal. It's bigger than what we think. You know what I mean? Like it's I mean, I'm running out of words to describe what I'm thinking about here. It's all, there's something to it that it puts them all together. Like when at some point in the early 2000s, I started getting reports of UFOs and Bigfoots, and I started, you know, like it seemed like to me like the UFO sighting and the Bigfoot sighting were together, you know, even though the people reporting it, the ones that were seeing the UFOs, they didn't see the Bigfoot, okay? And the ones that were seeing the Bigfoot or the glimpses of the Bigfoot in the same area, they didn't see the UFOs, and they don't know each other, and they didn't know that, you know, they wouldn't never put it together, you know what I mean? But because I was doing all of it, I put it together. Well, it's getting more and more like that. Like now the you know, it's the UFOs and the Bigfoot and even like now, you know, I was listening to a story where this military guy, and Happy New Year, you guys. I know a bunch of people's come in. Happy New Year. I love you guys. I hope you had a great Happy New Year. I hope everybody had fun. I hope it was all safe. Everybody stayed out of jail and the hospitals and all that. When I started doing a little bit of, you know, like recently, I mean, I've been doing research into all the different paranormal or supernatural for a long time, but I never, like UFOs and aliens, I put them to, or Bigfoot and UFOs, I kind of like was putting that together, you know what I mean, like on my own. There isn't really a whole lot saying, you know, that Bigfoots and aliens go together. Only I did find some MUFON reports where some MUFON people had been putting it together. But they're older, you know, it's like in the 80s or something like that is when they were, maybe it was the 90s, something like that. I mean, but it was a while back that they had, you know, be out in the area talking to the people that had the UFO sighting, and then hear of some Bigfoot sightings at the same time while they're out there, and they started putting it together, you know, kind of like how I did. But only I was watching a video, and maybe all you guys, it was on Facebook, or somebody sent me a link or something, and you know, this, I think it was Brenton Sawn had a guest that was like he was ex-military, and they were going after marijuana grows, and it was probably here in California somewhere. and the female one had stepped in a trap, a booby trap that the growers had put out for people, you know, and it was a bear trap, and it got, probably broke her leg, messed her up, and she was down on the ground, and then these guys come, you know, crashing through, and they happen onto this whole family of Bigfoot with the mama one, you know, with a broken leg, and then they killed all of them. The only one that got away, really, I think, was the baby one, the little one. And he said that wasn't really that little, but, I mean, it was little compared to all the other ones. And they knew it was the little ones. And I thought it was one of the best interviews I've heard in a long time, too. I think it was horrific too, you know, like the way they had to shoot them all like that. But only what was interesting to me was the infrasound, okay, and the way the government handled these guys, right? So they all got sick, and you know, he was describing how they were communicating and stuff like that. But then, you know, it was like he said at one point he thought he got sprayed like a skunk with, you know, this smell, and they were given new clothes and everything. And then the big, you know, alpha male, it was like making noise that he could hear audibly, and then it was making noise that he didn't even know about, that the military knew about. And, you know, took them in the hospital, and they were all getting sick and everything. And it was a ultra low frequency sound that would got them, you know. And, you know, everything is like everything in the whole universe is sound waves, or, you know, even light is sound waves. Everything is in waves, right? Everything's held together. Like even our own body, I mean, like this desk isn't solid, even though you could hear it, you know. There's little bitty teeny tiny spaces in it held, but the atoms are all held together, but there's lots of space in it, and it's all held together. So, but only it's all a frequency, right? Rocks, say like they say that Einstein says, like, if you're in a UFO, say, and you're gonna fly, because these things say they come from a long ways, okay, light years away. So that's a long, so, you know, if they were traveling the speed of light and they were going light years and they went 15 light years, that's a long ways, you know what I mean? Like, that's a long ways. It's still 15 years getting here, but it's traveling at the speed of light, okay? Now, according to Einstein, the faster you go towards speed of light, the more mass that you have. Like you come against all the little particles and everything in space, and it starts causing, pushback against you, and that increases your mass. So then it takes more propellant, you know, or fuel to burn faster. So like the faster you go, the more fuel you need, the more bigger you get, the more slower you get, right? You can't, it's like unattainable to be light speed. But say you could turn yourself into light. Say that you could change your frequency and you could change into light. Then you could travel at the speed of light, zero mass, right? And you could just zip. Right, that's the only thing I could think of that, you know, that could. It also would take away G-force and stuff like that. Like you see the UFOs making 90-degree turns and stuff like that. But what I'm getting at is, it seems the Bigfoot can use these frequencies that, you know, they can make you sick, and they intentionally know how to use these frequencies, and they can put it on you, and they can even be selective. Like there could be a group of people standing there, and they can target one or two out of the group and nail those guys. Like there could be 10 people in a tent, and they can hit one person in the tent with the tent closed. Okay, like it's just amazing to me. Like the everything, like the more that I research, the more that I'm finding these things all are intertwined somehow. And I haven't figured out how. I'm not an expert. I'm not Einstein. I'm not, you know, Tesla. I'm not any of that. I just do a lot of reading and trying to figure out, you know, this stuff. And I'm coming to the conclusion that, or I'm being led down a path that where these things share certain traits. Like the alien. Okay, like now the Bigfoot can use these ultra low frequencies and probably ultra high frequencies, you know, going into the higher frequency range. They can see into the higher frequency, you know, light ranges, or even maybe even the lower ranges too, you know, but they can see in the infrared, and who knows if they might be able to see into the ultraviolet. And I mean, like they can, you know what I mean? Like that's like we've out of our own research figured out they could see the IR, and maybe they even could hear the frequency of the cameras, you know what I mean? Like the camera makes a pitch sound that we can't hear, but I think they can, and that's how come, you know, a lot of times we can't fool them with cameras, because they actually could hear maybe the flash powering up or something, you know. Maybe they could hear the switch that starts the camera, and then they can hear that frequency of that the camera is in, even though it's out of our hearing. It isn't, maybe it isn't out of their hearing, you know. And then the aliens, like, they use the same thing. You know, they change the frequencies to abduct people, you know, and then you go right through a wall or a window or a ceiling, and they're using frequencies, you know. And you know, I haven't put it all together on how, you know, I think that's going to be a long ways off figuring out how, but I think it's a big deal to realize that these things are using the same, like, technology, and it's out of our realm of where we can't use it, you know what I mean? But they use it on us, and actually, you know, L. Shepherd, the high frequencies, you say, the high frequencies may be used to lure children. Kids can hear much higher frequencies than adults. Remember the Pied Piper? What was he using? I know it's a fable, okay? And I know it's a really old fable, but he used music, which is waves, sound waves, the frequencies, right? And at first he went and he got all the rats out of the town, and then when the people wouldn't pay him, then he went back and he got all the kids out, right? Supposedly he took all the kids out by playing the flute. The same with Pan. He would play his flute and it would, like, melt the women, you know, and he would do whatever he wanted with it. But see, I think we're on to something on that, you know, and it could be what it makes their eyes glow. A 360 HD cam would be pretty cool, you know, like what you guys are saying, like that. You guys are like right on the same frequency as me, man. That's kind of, you guys are tripping me out. Like, here we are talking frequencies, you know, and like our third eye might be disabled by fluoride. What if God disabled our third eye? What if it works a little bit? You know, and then in the Bible it talks about that we see through a glass that's like smoky, like not clear. You know what I mean? What if that's not talking about our eyes so much as our third eye, or really all of the above, the third eye and the eyes? Because like I think that we were actually created where we could see all the frequencies and, you know, angels and demons and everything, that in all the light frequencies and everything. And something happened, and the Bible says it was Adam and Eve, but only something happened that cursed everything, and then now we can't. Only like it's been said the veil is getting thin, right? So what would happen if, what would you think if one day all of a sudden something happens and that falls away, right? The scales or the smoky glass or whatever falls away, and then we're able to see everything that we right now can't see, or we see shadows, or, you know, out of the corner of your eye stuff, you know, visions, dreams, stuff like that, but we're not really seeing it like straight up, straight out. But yeah, I think that we will see the demons and stuff like that, but only I don't think it'll make you crazy scared, because I actually think that we're with that ability to be able to see into all the frequencies and be able to see all that stuff. We also will come around to the other abilities that we have that we're not able to use, or we think we can't use. I actually think our words are so powerful. I even posted something about it on, you know, for my New Year resolution, you know, that I'm going to start affirming, you know, saying things that I want to happen for my new year. Even though this year, it seems like when you want to change something, it seems like everything comes against you. You know what I mean? Almost like, what would you call it? I can't remember the word for it. But, you know, like there's an equal and opposite force against your force, you know, like I decided I'm going to go positive and say positive things and be expecting positive things. And then, you know, the opposite force comes against me and tries to make sure that that doesn't happen, or to discourage me or to stop me, you know. And I know that if you continue, like only because of my disability and what I do and how I got out of the wheelchair and walking and sitting here in front of you and even having this topic, I know that if you continue, you will win, right? You'll prevail. And you might not prevail 100%, like, you know, I may never have the ability to feel my leg beside pain, but only I will make headway, you know, like I won't be rolling in a wheelchair, but I'll be walking unassisted and stuff like that, you know. It is almost like sabotage. It is, and I think it's like a law of the universe, you know what I mean? Like that was set in motion at some point, almost like a yin yang type thing, where like when you set the course for the positive, as much effort and everything that you put in the direction of the positive, that much effort comes against you. You know what I mean? Like, but you can, if you don't give up, you can overcome it. You know what I mean? And I have a feeling our words are creative, and I think that works against us a lot of times. Like for me, for instance, I'm gonna talk about something that's probably some people might not like. When I got hurt and all I could really focus on was what I lost. Okay. And I lost my health. I lost my ability to walk. I lost everything material except for my wife and family. But I mean, like money, things, guns, cars. I lost everything. Okay. And then I'm sitting in this little room, and I'm sitting in this little room, okay, in a little cubby hole for 5 years without leaving, without going outside as least as possible, without seeing anyone, without, I became a non-human, you know what I mean? Like I lost my will to carry on, because I mean, I didn't even know who I was, you know what I mean? Like when you lose what you do for a living, when you lose the things that you measure yourself or to others by others with, when you lose it, you become a useless, you start seeing yourself like useless. And I had to like change my thinking. Okay. And changing your thinking doesn't work unless you start changing what you say. All right. And I didn't even know if it really would work or not, but I started changing what I say, and I started saying what I wanted to happen, and I would not let anything bad from my lips go out of my mouth. I was really trying really hard not to speak anything against what I was trying to do, right? Like, I didn't have any more money to keep renting this house. And in all rights, I should not be here, okay? I should not, because I got behind, like months of rent behind. But I didn't ever say with my lips that I shouldn't be here, right? I kept saying everything's going to be fine. And, everything will come together. Everything's going to work. All things, are according to God's word. And when that's what was getting me, was the word thing, like, is it a frequency? Okay. Is our words frequencies? When we say these things and we send these frequencies out into the atmosphere, and release this, is that what draws it back to us? But it takes time to come back. Like if you go around saying negative things about yourself and worry and, always on the negative thing, and you send that out into the universe, and then what comes back usually is what you're saying to yourself, right? And that is exactly what I learned, was I could speak life into my life. And I could speak that I was going to walk, and I could speak that I wasn't going to lose my house. Everything was going to be fine. I was going to speak and I continue to do that. And so it seems like we do use the same thing they're using, frequencies, okay? Because our words are a frequency. But if you never say it, then it never, if you just only think it and never let it, send it out into the atmosphere or the universe, it will never create anything for you. And so we have to really be watchful of what frequency, words come out of our mouth, so that we create what we want in our life, right? The things that we want in our life. And I'm going to continue to do that with this new year. The things that I'm talking about right now, I'm going to learn, I'm going to try and figure out, like, where are all the Bigfoot coming from, and why are they all over the place now, and what is going on. Is there an end game? If you start watching TV, they're saying there is an end game, maybe zombie land, or there's all these scenarios. I actually think we're going to see some pretty trippy things here in the near future that's going to blow us away in our government. Because what if, like with our, now that, I said government, what if our government, you heard of the deep state, or the black, the dark government, the deep state government, the one that controls everything supposedly. What if those are all controlled by these aliens? And what if they're really not aliens? What if Bigfoots aren't really Bigfoots? Of what we think they are. Because we can't see the other realms and stuff like that they seem to be able to manipulate and use against us anytime they want, What if they're all controlled by that? And it's not a positive frequency thing. It's a negative coarse frequency thing. And the only way to fight it and get past it is use positive frequency stuff, But I have a feeling that a lot of this is we're gonna start seeing some things happen. We're gonna see the good guys start winning, and it's gonna cause some positive things for us here in the future, that and probably from a lot of people that just got sick and tired of the way, this is the way it always is, and they started speaking. You were sick and tired of it. We want change, and I think even Obama maybe started it with, change. I think everybody was speaking change, and they were sick and tired of it, and maybe we created this. You know what I mean? And maybe we don't like the guy that's doing the change, but maybe we're the ones that actually created the change that's happening right now, because we were bitching about it so much. You know what I mean? Like we were doing it like in a negative way, but only it wasn't negative so much as we were creating a change, you know what I mean? Like, and now we're starting to see what happens from what we created. And that's just some my Happy New Year thoughts, you know what I mean? Like as I'm going into the new year and I'm thinking about these things, this is just some of the things that runs through my little pea brain, and what's interesting is the more you research and the more you read, the more you deeper you go, the further back you go in history, and you start finding there's these common thread running through history all the way back, way back, and it verifies what I'm saying, right? It verifies it. But there is some things that I can't answer, like there's some things that I don't understand still, like with the alien thing, you know, like the have you guys heard that story about that guy that he worked at Dreamland, I think, you know, in Dreamland, and he was like a weatherman or something like that, and there was these tall what do they call them, the tall blonde aliens, right? And supposedly he didn't sign not an NDA, so he didn't he could talk about it anytime he wanted. And according to him, I think he said he could go anywhere he wanted, and he could talk about anything he wanted. And no, it wasn't Bob Lazar. I can't remember the guy's name. But only he worked out there like a weatherman, and I think he was calling it Area 54 or Area 53, something like that. It wasn't Area 51, even though he did go to Area 51, but he worked in Dreamland, and Dreamland isn't Area 51. It's actually further, I can't remember. It's a valley somewhere, you know, 40 miles away from Area 51. But he went out there, and these tall Nordics, I guess, yeah, like I think you're right, Nordics would come out, and they were always armed. The women would kill you, you know, if you got anywhere near their kids. Supposedly to him, all their ships were made here by us, right? Only they would get the parts and they would put them together. We would make the parts, only they would put them together. And he explained the whole thing, and that's where I got the idea of the light. He was saying that it was like a RV, okay, like the ship was like a RV, and this would be like the long ship that goes faster than the speed of the light, supposedly to this guy, but only it had wrapped inside of it in, like, there was the living space, you know, and then there was the outer hull, and in between them there was the fiber optics that wound up, you know, and somehow it used the fiber optic that would change the frequency of the ship to where it could go faster than the speed of light. Like maybe it changed the properties of the ship to light, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know, but it's just like, I can't explain the Nordics or the tall blonde aliens. I can't explain that. I can't explain, you know, I saw Corey Good's name go across. I can't explain the blue avians. I was researching that like about a year ago, the blue avians. But I do know that, like, some of that goes to ancient Egypt. And something else that I noticed, you guys are going to trip on this one. The Roman gods, or the Greek gods, and the Norse gods, you know, like Thor and stuff like that, they're all coming back. Have you noticed? I mean, they always have been in the comic books and stuff like that, you know. But only now they're coming back like big time in the movies. And they're either super powered people, or they're gods, you know, like Thor. Or they're super powered people that, you know, like the Green Lantern, or you know, and then like even Superman, you know, like if you think about Superman, Kal-El, or you know what I mean, like El, that's like that's talking about religion. That goes back to the Sumerians. That's actually terminology they use in the Sumerians in history. But all this stuff is starting to come back, right? Like they're starting to make it look real in the movies. I mean, it's an interesting thing. yeah, the Black Knight. I don't know how they like when they start quoting the things about the Black Knight satellite. How I don't know how like I don't. They say it's been up there for 5,000 years or like. How do they know? I mean, we couldn't even see these things until modern day with telescopes and stuff like that. Unless they Pythagoras or whatever his name was that invented the telescope, saw that thing back then and described it, and they wrote it down, a few times. But so has anyone watched YouTube Deb's Local Bigfoots? And she is filming a lot of alien Bigfoot going on in her yard lately. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, this was unheard of. I mean, I raised all my kids in the mountains. I lived in the mountains, right? I grew up in the woods, and this is not normal. You know what I mean? Like, not the normal that I know. That this is not normal. This is Abby normal. There's more going on than we know what's going on. I mean, it's getting, it can't be because of Facebook and people just now coming out with their stories. Because when, like, some of these stories that we're talking about are recent stories. They're happening right now, or in the last year or so, or 2 years or 3 years, not 20 years ago, right? There is some older stories coming out, but nothing like what is coming out right now. I mean, like it is off the hook. And I'm gonna make sure, like, maybe I can make one on Google Earth. Yeah, there was the Abby Normal. Yeah, that was from that movie. Maybe I can make a little map on because I want to start keeping track of this stuff. And I'm starting to think is 2018, like right now I'm just me, and I have a few guys that want to go out, and like a few of them want to see Bigfoot, and I'm 99% sure I could take them to a place where, if we're patient and we follow our P's and Q's, that they'll see a Bigfoot. I mean, only because now, I mean, like, if I couldn't promise you this 20 years ago, I absolutely couldn't. I could take you in an area where maybe we might find a track, maybe we'll hear a wood knock or a whistle or something, but nothing like today, right? Like today, I could take you to several areas now, like that I know that you have a very, very high chance of seeing a Bigfoot. Like there's a guy that posted on in Facebook that he was going to take his camera out live on January 6th. And go to this place where he got the life scared out of him by a Bigfoot, and he's going to go over there and he's going to go live, and he pretty much almost guarantees that he's going to show everybody a Bigfoot. I mean, like, what? Like, whoever heard of that? Like, what's going on, you guys? What's going on? There's something going on. I mean, like, and the one that I mean, I'm not saying I don't like the guy or anything. I am not saying that, but only like Rio is the one really that started this for me, like got this thought process going for me. Like, here's the guy, doesn't believe in him, takes everybody's research, reads about it, and then goes out in the woods, applies it, and then has a Bigfoot sighting. And again and again and again and again, and takes other people with him, and documents all this stuff. He calls wallows. I don't know if I would call it a wallow. I mean, if you ever seen a pig wallow, they were nothing like a wallow, Only that's, he did it, right? He did it. And then he did Project Go Out and See, or whatever you call it. And people are seeing. And I don't think it's that hard now. I really don't. I think if you look at what I do and maybe go back and research some of the things that me and Jeffrey and I have done and some other guys, and I think you could pretty much go find a Bigfoot all by yourself without any trouble at all. I mean, there's these actual formula that you know, that it works like 100% of the time. Like usually it has to be a river bottom, a creek bottom. There has to be some kind of food. There has to be cover. And that's about it, really. You know, like, and it could be right outside of your town, like not far. So only like, I think 2018 for me is going to mean I'm going to need, not need, but only what I want to put together a team of people, like a team, like with different talents, right? And like I have certain talents that I have and I do very well, but only there's some things that I'm not good at, you know. And when I worked at the casino and was over a lot of departments, I realized, you know, it started dawning on me, you know, that you can't do, like if I say I set up the $1 million promotion at the casino and I couldn't do security, I couldn't cook all the meals in the restaurant, I couldn't keep the bathrooms clean, I couldn't park the cars, I couldn't do everything, you know what I mean? Like to do the whole promotion, I had to have a bunch of people good at what they do, doing their job, and then it would be a successful promotion. And I know everybody was saying, well, oh man, you did this. Well, really, I didn't do it all by myself. You know what I mean? Like it took all these people to make that happen. I'm starting to think that if we're going to figure out some of the things that I just talked about, there's people that we all see things different. We all have different talents. We all have something to bring to the table. And I think if we came together and we started sharing things, and like we could, I mean, it doesn't even mean that, we have to be in the same city or anything. That's what's nice about the internet. You know, we could use Skype or Hangouts or whatever. And I don't mean broadcasting it as much as meeting, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we could all be sitting around a table looking at a monitor. I mean, we could be sitting at a table looking at a monitor, but it would be like we're sitting out, you know, sitting around the table with all the people, you know, in the room, and with a common goal of figuring out what's going on and gathering the evidence, you know. Even though like some people might be together physically in the same area, it doesn't mean we have to, because the internet is so cool. Like the world used to be really, really big, you know, but then the internet made it this big, you know. You know what I'm saying? And see, that's what I'm saying, Aaron. We did too, and all my family are hunter, you know, outdoor people, always out there, you know, and you could count everything on your one hand. I mean, there was like every once in a while there'd be some kind of weird story. Unless you get on the Native American side, then there, you know, there is quite a bit of weirdness, you know. And I always didn't believe any of it, but I'm starting to learn that, you know, there's truth in everything, even fables and myths and legends and stuff like that. There's truth in it. Only there was nothing going on like today. Today, it's different, you know. And when we were going into 2018, I was thinking, man, this is the year. This is going to be a crazy year. Not crazy in a bad way, crazy in a good way. Like, I mean, like, we're going to really have some fun in this year, and be prepared to see, you know, and have your paradigms blown apart, because that's my goal, is to blow everybody's paradigm out the window. And, you know, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's like you can't learn if you're stuck in one little recliner and you don't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you have to have your doors blown off in order to see past your comfort level, you know, and that's what we're going to do in 2018, is we're going to get out of our comfort zone, and we're going to challenge these paradigms and fables and myths and legends, and go after these stories and hypotheses and theories, and see what we can, like, find out, you know. Yeah, that's it right there. Opening our mind. We're just going to open our mind, and we are going to go, and we're going to do what Rio said. We're going to go see, right? We're going to go see. I mean, like, when I heard him say that, it was like the simplest little thing, but it's true, you know, and it works not just only with Bigfoot, it works with everything. And we're going to go see, and the ones that can't go see, we'll bring that to the internet and share with everyone what we find. And I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait. I've been chomping at the bit to go out to this place that I was told about just a few days ago, in an area that I would have never, ever in a million years thought somebody would see a Bigfoot. And I can't wait to get out there. I know that it's been like a week or week and a half or now, you know. There's probably no evidence or anything. So, but I'm going to still go out there. I mean, if it's still hanging around there, maybe I could find some evidence, you know. Maybe I could get a casting. Maybe I could get some video of some evidence, you know, and bring it on, you know. Yeah, hey, that's what I'm talking about. Like, let's all go on a ride. This is going to be a wild ride in 2018. If it's any kind of, like, if it's any kind of a measure of, if you know, like, if going back in the last few years about how everything has ramped up, you know, if we look at that as a gauge to how this year's going to be off the hook, you know, and we just have to keep going out there. We just have to keep getting out there. We have to keep challenging you know, we have to keep overcoming the things that's going to get in our way. There'll be obstacles. Like, for me, it's a lot of obstacles, like just getting out of bed. I mean, that's what I put on my, that's what I put on my Facebook, you know, like sometimes I have to see Rocky, you know, where he runs up the stairs, you know, and then he dances and everything, but only I have to start seeing myself getting out of bed like that. Like, for me, getting out of bed, is like running up the steps. And then when my feet hit the floor and I'm up and walking around, then I made it to the top of the steps, you know, like dun, 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 the eye of the tiger thing, you know. Like, for me, that it's a big deal just to make it out of bed. So Only I'm looking at it as I'll beat that, and I'm gonna go even further, and we're going to, like chase down some of these things, and because it's getting good. It is no time to be like laying around in bed, that's for sure. I mean, it's too exciting to be to do it, but I know that there's going to be some negative coming. There's going to be negative coming, like all the emails I get, like every time I talk about a disability or pain or whatever, like, you whiner, shut the fuck up, stuff like that. It's like, whatever, I just delete the posts. It doesn't really bother me. I think there's people hired to do that, or they just get a thrill out of like seeing, tearing people down. And I mean, I'm way past, like, if you're the guy that is posting those things, or you're putting the thumbs down and stuff like that, I'm way past that. Go ahead, put them on there. My whole life has been going against the current of, or the people that want to tear me down, or say bad things about me, or spread rumors and stories and call names and stuff like that. Well, that's not going to work, because I'm old guy and I already lived past that, and I'm going to go on and do all this stuff and have fun, and you could either have fun, or you could, tune out, or you could just say whatever you want to say and I'll delete it anyways, But it's going to be a great year. 2018 is going to be really good. It's going to be fun. We're going to go out. We're gonna do all these things and share everything that we find. And I'm hoping that there's other people out there that are hearing me in their area, like Brown Dwarf, for instance. Like, we should be hooking up online. He goes out, he's like in, he goes out and he's bringing some pretty good videos and stuff like that, but he's going out and he's getting out there, and nobody's going to find anything, sitting behind the desk or, in front of the TV and the recliner and stuff like that. So, I'm thinking about like expanding the horizons to where we have like a Squatch zone, a real Squatch zone, or a paranormal zone where we share and we all go out and we could get together and hook up and share what we're learning and finding, and and it doesn't matter if we're in the same city or not. We have the internet where we could be, like right now, I'm in everybody's living room, or, wherever you are, I'm right there with you. I'm like only like that far away, right? Like however far your screen is. So, I mean, like it isn't like I'm real far at the moment, and it's live. Like if I pinch myself right now, I'm gonna scream, and I could say like Sam Squatch and Rock City and M Harrison. In fact, hi all you guys. I look, wow, hey, Rock City Marco, yeah, M Harrison, yeah, hey, what's up? And Pam Rose. Yeah, see, now don't get too close to us, Pam. We don't want the flu. Don't be breathing on the screen now, Oh, that's good. Hey, Fast Enough. Is it Fast Enough or Fastenal One? Fastenal One? What's up? I don't know. Why? I don't think we're alone in our universe. I actually don't. I think there's lots of stuff in our universe that we don't understand, and I think there's stuff right on this world we don't even understand. Tell you the truth, and maybe we're all universal, like in our physicality of this life. We can't travel the universe, but say when we change, when we die and go into the next phase of our life, which never ends? What if we could travel the universe at mere thought, at the speed of thought? Isn't that an interesting thing? Like, if you wanted to know how far 100 billion light years is, all you have to do is think about a place in the universe that's 100 billion light years away, and then bam, you're there. Like, what if that is what we really were created to be? What if something changes in the near future that changes our body and everything to where we don't die, and we have that ability all of a sudden? Like, what if there was some kind of curse put on the humans because of some of these things that we're talking about tonight? Bigfoot, aliens, this, that. What if they did something that was tried to steal something that we have, and now they're trying to keep it from us, right? And maybe like they're the deep state. They're in religion, and they're in the governments and stuff like that, and they're trying to keep the secret of what we really are, what we really create, our true who we are, away from us. Because if we found out, we would blow them away with a word. What if that was the case? Something to think about, huh? I mean, that's just something I think about. Yeah, I mean, it is, but what if it's bigger than that? Like, what if we're at the end of the age of their control, right? They were doomed. There's a certain point in history that everyone in history was looking forward to, and then now we look back to, where their age got destroyed. And what if this is all gonna like bust wide open here, and we're gonna come into our birthright, that something they've been trying to take from us or keep from us, because they don't want us to be what we are, because we're better than them. We're greater than them. We're more powerful than them. Only they try to dumb us down, and they try to teach us different, and on and on and on, like the Dark Ages when nobody could read and stuff like that. I mean, think about it. Think about it. They won't have any control over us, and we'll be able to wipe them out with a word, one word. It's just a thought, something to think about in the new year, that how to even start learning about who you are and what you are. Start speaking positive, and you'll start seeing what I mean. I mean, you can move mountains with your words just by staying positive and affirming what things, Rock's leaving. Good night, Rock City, Marco. I actually got to get going too. I just wanted to really get on here and tell everybody Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a really happy New Year. I'm looking forward to this coming New Year. I'm looking forward to hanging out with Ghost Wolf 999. I can't wait, man. I actually turned my phone on. I am so bad about phones. I have to admit, I am terrible. I think my whole house is terrible about phones. Like, our phones, they die. Like, we don't pay attention so much that our phones die. You know what I mean? And then we don't even know, like, people are calling, but we don't know because the phone's dead. It's laying over there, but nobody picked it up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I'm terrible. So one of my New Year's resolutions is my cell phone. I will start carrying it around. I was carrying it around and kept it charged for like 2 days, and then I realized that it was on mute. And I was like, nobody's trying to call me, you know. Believe was on mute the whole time, but nobody tried to call me anyways because they've already tried so many times they gave up and they don't call anymore. But yeah, so you know, I'm gonna work on that cell phone thing, and I'm gonna try to keep one house phone charged and somewhere where I can get to it all the time, and start checking the messages and stuff like that. But I mean, you could catch me on Facebook message pretty good. You know, I check that one pretty regular. You know, that one I am good at. But so like catch me on Messenger and say, hey, you know, grab your cell phone or get a phone. You know, like I'm going to give you a call. Like, okay, you know, and I could do that. You know what? I never needed an assistant before, but only it does seem like I do need one now. At one time when I worked at the casino, I had 3 assistants, right? I had one for marketing, one for the food and beverage, and one for the network, the computer networking job. And I didn't need any of them. I could remember all the phone numbers, dates, meeting times, everything. But then after I got hurt, I can't remember nothing. I can't even remember people's names. I am seriously bad now. And that was one of the things that got me, you know, like when you have an ability that you take for granted, like perfect memory and stuff like that, and then you lose that, it is really, it's rough on the old brain, you know, on your who you are, self-worth type thing. Because now you're not anything. You're like only a shadow of the person you used to be. But you just have to make the best of what you have. So, I mean, this is it. So here we go, you know. But I probably do need an assistant for sure. Well, you guys, I gotta get... you need a sidekick. I know, huh? Like, I'm thinking the same thing. Man, I'll be checking your video out, Brown Dwarf. I've been loving your videos, man. I might not comment on every one of them, but I watch all of them, and some of the other people's too. It's been fun, you know. I enjoy that stuff, and you never know. Like, I'm always expecting something to pop out on you or growl or something, you know. I mean, like, I see this like Darby O'Gill in the Little People Woods, and I'm just waiting for like Darby O'Gill to go popping out, or you know, something like that. But anyways, you guys have a really good evening. I'm gonna try to get back in here on Friday night. And do a little earlier because I know this was kind of late, and I didn't mean for it to be late. It just the day was like going nuts today. It wasn't supposed to be that way. It turned out that way, and I almost didn't even make it in here. But I'm like, no, I owe it to everyone to get in here, and then I wanted to talk about the new year coming and give everybody some ideas on. Like if they want to go out and take a video along, and then we could sit and have Skype meetings and stuff like that. But y'all have a really good evening. It was fun. I love you all. I'm praying for your health and wealth and well-being for the whole rest of the 2018. So y'all stay cool and stay squatchy.